Our ocean's health is a guide to our future. In order to understand the risks, we need to know more. But the more we investigate, the more we learn that all is not well. A multi-sector effort is required to create solutions to mitigate risk and build resilience where it's needed most. The first Ocean Risk Summit is bringing together leaders from across the political, economic, environmental, and risk management sectors to understand, discuss, and develop strategies to mitigate ocean risk.
If we're going to succeed in saving the ocean's health, as succeed we must, we've got to be approaching this in a spirit of partnership. There's no silver bullet in this exercise. It's all of us in this together.
For us, it's a really key moment in driving forward this creation of a more resilient society through the use of insurance mechanisms and other solutions as well.
It's been really easy for us to say understanding the risk is essential, and from that come the opportunities, but we need to go deeper into what are those opportunities and what can each person in the room, as individuals and as organizations, do to identify and move forward quickly on those solutions and opportunities.
We have always thought the ocean was too big to fail. But it is in trouble. Human impacts on the ocean are translating back into serious hazards to us and the planet. Sea ice is melting. Increased storm intensity threatens damage to economies and livelihoods. Some fish stocks are on the edge of collapse, and ultimately, our own health is at risk. Sea levels are rising. Coastlines are eroding. Cities are threatened by flooding and populations risk being displaced. These stressors help us to define ocean risk.
We have tried to define ocean risk in such a way that it would be meaningful for all of us when we look at how to tackle the changes we see in the ocean and how it's affecting humanity and the ecosystems that we depend on.
The value of resilience can't be recognised until we properly assess risk, and the insurance sector can play a very important role in evaluating ocean-related risks to populations and assets as well as the ocean itself, and come up with ways of managing and sharing that risk now and in the future.
We can do more research to understand the real cost of these risks. Because we understand how costly they are, it becomes very cheap to kind of work on the solutions to them. We can understand how to really create products that can make communities resilient when bad events do happen. We do not cover enough people's risks as we should, and we can do more to do so. And we can create products that allow green energy to displace dirty energy faster.
So the issues about ocean resiliency are really an economic conversation, and it's essential that the business community is at hand with government, that we're working together for solutions.
It's important for us to be on the cutting edge, to get access to all the correct information and relevant information, to better understand how we need to address the challenges that we face. It's a very important matter for us. It's a matter of national significance for us.
If we're going to develop the blue economy in a sustainable way, people need the confidence to invest, and the insurance, reinsurance sector, the financial sector can all play a key role within that. And of course, it's typically true that the private sector moves a whole lot quicker than the government. So if we're going to make changes, I think it needs to start at the private sector level first.
Mitigating ocean risk can only be achieved if we reduce the hazards. Our exposure and vulnerability to these hazards can only be reduced by lessening our impacts on the ocean. No single sector can hope to tackle an issue as complex as ocean risk alone. It requires a multi-sector approach to enable communities to plan, thrive, and secure their future.
What's been key about this conference is the fact that it has been completely solutions focused. So we've really wanted to get onto a new page, a new chapter of creating resilience in different communities around the world. And by working across industries, across sectors, through the scientific community, NGOs, the business and insurance community. We're hoping to drive change and to build resilience in those societies that need it most.
There are a number of things we need to do to secure a healthy ocean. One of them, of course, is living within the bounds of what is there so that we don't overtax it. Part of it is making sure that we understand the dynamics that are changing and how we can manage for resilience, how we can manage these systems so that we can depend upon them in the future.
I'd love to see a way that our sector can share its modelling expertise with the wider ocean community to bring a better understanding of risk. I think the way that our sector has been regulated to manage these risks could be shared more broadly into the wider financial system. And finally, I think exposed communities would benefit from insurance being provided through public and private partnership, as well as blended finance to bring resilience to exposed communities.
We have so much knowledge about how these storms are developing, about what costs they're creating, and we as a result are able to be kind of the canary in the coal mine to get everybody's awareness up and then to create the actual products that create resilience when bad events do happen. That's a pretty exciting combination. We hope this event stirs that up.
I think it's important to continue the discussion, but I think what's even more so important is the outcome of those discussions, to have actionable targets to ensure that we continue the conversation and that each discussion or each summit comes out with a constructive outcome.
I have to say the Ocean Risk Summit has been phenomenal. It's really been about actions and solutions. But what I particularly found very, very positive was it brought together two communities that don't normally learn from each other. The insurance industry, the financing industry, and the ocean ecological industry, NGOs, scientists, the Met. I learned so much from the finance and insurance industry, and when we brought together great minds in both of those fields, we've really come up with some good solutions, and I can't wait to have it all summarized for everyone out there who's working on these issues.
The cross-sectoral dialogue that we've experienced over the last 2 days has really been exciting. It's shown that it doesn't matter whether we're from insurance, finance, the ocean conservation community, or academia, we can actually work together. And when we get in a room together, we can take the ideas that we all work on separately and spark new ideas that can drive action forward.
This first ever Ocean Risk Summit was absolutely fantastic, bringing together people from the world of insurance, science, business, and civil society not only allowed us to look at ocean risk from many different dimensions, but also begin to develop a unique language we can all understand.
Discover, prepare, be part of the solution.